What's up, family? Ayo, we going straight into it. We're going in. One thing I was thinking about this morning, a lot of us, we want more in our life, whether that's money, possessions, social group type stuff, whatever you want in this life, right? And a lot of times people think you get that by doing more, right? I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go make more money. I'm going to do whatever, I'm going to do in order to get. Well, what if I told you about this crazy concept? Instead of doing, being, right? Instead of doing things to get things, you just be. You're being over doing. Because I promise you, if you can learn to simply be the highest version of yourself, or whatever the version of yourself that will get those things naturally, that these things will just come into your life if you are the person that is aligned with it. So, for example, big one, right? Money. Everyone wants to make money. Everyone wants to make more money. So people, we come up with these ways to make money. You get a second job, you start a business, you sell a product or a service. These are all things that you do to make more money. Nothing wrong with that. That works. It definitely works in our world. The only thing, when you do, you have to keep doing, right? You have to keep doing more and more and more and more. And you can't stop, because if you stop, the money stops, right? So think about this. Instead of doing more to get more, when you're being the version of yourself that generates these possibilities naturally, right? So instead of, say, going out and starting that business, it could be whatever, junk removal. It can be a cleaning business. These are all things that you do, right? You can make a lot of money doing these types of things. But the thing is, you have to keep doing it. Versus the person that's just simply being naturally creates income streams that flow to them. Now, what I mean by that is the person that can enjoy life, that has fun, you put that first. If you can put the being part first, I'm going to be the person that's always enjoying life, no matter what's happening around me, that's always having fun, that's always in this mindset of abundance, right? That's abundant when you're positive, you're overflowing, right? You can share your insights, you can share how you feel with others, and it's actually affecting them to where it's filling them up. By being that person, not only is it going to be, you're going to have a happier, more fulfilled life, you're also you're creating circumstances that are going to make it to where things that are naturally aligned with that just flow to you. Opportunities, situations, circumstances, anything like that. Just because you're focused on what you're being versus what you're doing. See, you can have a business doing this or that and have no type of focus or attention on who you are being in that business, because you're focused on what you're doing. to get the income to keep coming in, to start, whatever you can do to keep that flow going, you're focusing on doing. So whether you're in a positive state of mind, a negative state of mind, scarce, abundant, you can still pull these levers in the physical reality, meaning doing more marketing, putting out more ads, finding more leads. You're doing, and that's keeping the income coming in, right? Despite how you feel. And it's what a lot of people say. They say hustle culture is toxic. I wouldn't go that far. It's not toxic. It's just you learn to put aside who you are being and how you feel to get a job done, which in a lot of ways it makes sense, right? It makes sense. We actually need that in this world. We do. The thing is, if you put all your focus instead on who you are being in every moment, moment to moment, situation to situation, circumstance to circumstance, who you are being, you feel good, you feel supportive of others, you feel you're always bringing an energy to the room. You put all your focus on that. That's naturally going to create opportunities to where you can make equal or even way greater amounts of money by that. And you don't have to do anything. All you're doing is focusing on who you are being moment to moment, which this is so much more enjoyable because now you get to focus on being in a good mood, what's true to you, what feels good, how you can raise others up. And if you're always focusing on who you're being, those opportunities, they will constantly present themselves to you. And how does that happen? Because it's not about what you do, it's who you are. A person who enjoys who you are is usually going to, if you have a product or a service, or if you don't, but a lot of times people are going to choose that person they enjoy to do a service for them or buy their product. I enjoy this person and I don't enjoy this person, but they offer the product or service. They're going to go with the person that they enjoy. So your mindset should always be moment to moment. Am I an enjoyable person? Do I enjoy myself? People love a person that is comfortable with themselves, that enjoys their own company, that is in a good mood, that brings positivity to the room, good vibrations, high vibrations, because that stuff leaks out into the environment. It affects the atmosphere where you're at. When you can do this, you're naturally, the world naturally wants to pour into you. You've become a flow, an entry point where things can flow through you, right? Simply by focused on being, right? It sounds so crazy. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time. I've thought of so many different ways to make money, whether going back to school, specific types of careers, different types of businesses, all these different things that I've focused on to try to make money. And it always comes down back to the core, the foundation that I realize about any of these things. It's about really who you're being. If you're applying for a job, you want a specific type of career. What do? You interview for the job. And what are they observing? Who you are. Who you are being in that moment, right? They're trying to get a read on who you are. Do I enjoy this person? Do I think they're fit for the job? Are they going to bring a certain element to this workplace that I enjoy and I choose to be around? That's who you're being. When you're in business, marketing, ads, when you're meeting leads, you're qualifying leads, a lot of times the customer is going to go with the provider they enjoy, they feel comfortable with, right? So you can do all you want, but it's secondary to who you are being. Who you are being is the foundation. What you are doing is the structure, right? So when you can focus on who you're being in moment to moment, and you're not always going to be everyone's cup of tea, but all you can do is be your cup of tea. You enjoy yourself. Keep yourself in that elevated state of mind, that elevated attitude, that positivity. Feel good. Even when you feel bad, find the good in feeling bad, right? If you're upset, you're angry, instead of taking that out on another individual or anything like that, go work out. Let it fuel you. That you just flip that negative into a positive. So it's actually that negative was actually a positive the entire time, because you use it to fuel a positive situation. When you can learn to enjoy you and turn whatever type of situation to your benefit in order for you to radiate happiness, abundance, just satisfaction in life, charisma, all these different types of things, people sense that, people notice that, people want that around them in their lives, influencing them, because it helps people. They want to attach themselves to that. They want to attach themselves to that positive energy. It feels good for them. You help people flow better because you're around. You bring a lightness to the room, right? So at the end of the day, it's always who you are being versus what you are doing, right? When it comes to making money, do you want to do things to make money, or do you just want to make money because of who you are being? Which one? It should be pretty obvious. Do you want to have to do things to make money, or do you just want to have to show up and you make money because of who you are? You don't have to do anything. It's who you are. And see, this is where the confusion, this is the reason I mentioned hustle culture earlier. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah, of course you gotta, even if you're being, you eventually have to do something to, get the circumstances that you want. You have to do things. But if you try to do things without the foundation of being, you can still get outcomes that you want, but they're not going to be as consistent. You can do a lot of different things, and maybe a small percentage of those are going to get the outcome that you want. But if you focus on who you are being and put what you're doing second, who you are being, you're only going to attract opportunities to the self that are aligned with what you're about. So if you're skipping the being part and you're just doing, you're finding situations that you are aligned with. You're finding situations that you aren't aligned with. You're finding situations that are in the middle, that are on the fence. Now, it works, but you're gonna have to really work for it, because you're sifting through things that are for you, that are not for you, things that are kind of in the middle for you, and you have to, it's gonna be a lot smaller percentage. But if you focus on who you're being in that moment to moment, and that's your main focus, you're only going to bring circumstances, situations to you that are aligned with you, that like that want to get closer, nearer to you. See what I'm saying? And when you start to do 99% of those circumstances, whether it's making money, having friends, doing whatever, you could be in business. Because of who you're being, you've attracted these circumstances to you. You're going to have a much more efficient close rate. See what I'm saying? The thing that you want is now readily available because you've attracted that opportunity to you through your focused construction of being, your identity, because you specifically put focus, time, energy, attention into your avatar, into how you make others feel, into all of these different things. And if you're always being a person that's enjoyable to be around, it's a pleasure to be around you. It's a massive pleasure. People feel good in your presence. Think about that. When you feel good in someone's presence, it's easy to be around them. It's easy to work with them. It's easy to want to buy their products or buy their services because you enjoy them. They're a pleasure. They make you feel good. That person is going to attract much more aligned opportunities because they're putting the being, the identity, they're being the energy first, and whatever orbits around them is already in tune with what they are. Versus if you're skipping that part and you're going specifically to, well, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to do this. I need to, put out this type of marketing or this type of ads and do this and do that. And you're trying to get in as many people in as possible, as many leads or as many, you're just throwing a massive net, right? You're throwing a massive net and seeing what comes up with it versus being the bait, being the thing that someone wants more so, right? Instead of going after the desired outcome, you are being what that desired outcome is attracted to. See? It's kind of a weird concept. And I know a lot of people probably, they may not understand it, but it makes total sense to me. And I just wanted to share that with people because, I think we all have the ability to get what we want in this life. But it begins with who you're being moment to moment. If you're focused on that aspect of being a human being, you're focused on enjoying yourself, which you're automatically going to be in a much more positive, more open state. People are attracted to that. People are attracted to people who are confident, who are in flow state, people who are enjoying life. It feels good to be around people like that. So focus, put that at the forefront of your attention, enjoying who you are. And I promise you will have to do a lot less doing. a lot less chasing, because what's meant for you will come to you. It's that simple.